Kelvin, good to see you, sir. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing good, Sam. How are you?
Doing very well. Doing very well. Good to see you, man. And I'm very excited to jump into things here. So to kind of set context, you just wrapped up 6 months with Alpha Body System, right? And I remember way back on our first call 6 months ago, you were pretty skeptical. You weren't too sure. You're really on the fence, and you came to the point where you're like, all right, let's give it a try. And here we are 6 months later. You're down 30 pounds. You've absolutely crushed it. You've had a ton of incredible wins along the way. And, you should feel very good about the results you've created, man. All credit goes to you. You crushed it. You showed up consistently. And that's why your results have been so great. But I'm wondering if you can share for the people here, right? Like, if you can think back to where you were 6 months ago, what was life like? What was your relationship to health and fitness way before we started 6 months ago with Alpha Body System?
Yeah, fantastic question. So I would just start at saying 6 months ago, I was in a very unhappy state with kind of where I had let myself get to. I think all throughout, if I could say my youth, I was a pretty fit guy, like especially when I was in the military. But there was a point transitioning out of active duty, taking on a new job, taking on grad school, all while COVID was going on, where priorities just started to get kind of reshuffled, if you will. And now fitness kind of went by the wayside. Um, so I kind of found myself in kind of a bad situation in which now I'm up 40 pounds from where I was, still as busy as ever, not really knowing where I could claw this back. I threw everything that I had known at the time at it, with just like working out a ton, not really paying attention to nutrition because I didn't fully understand it. Even tried a couple fad diets, that were near starvation. And then I won't name drop anything, but certain frequently advertised, trainer services on Instagram, even bought into that. And none of it was working. So when I stumbled across, your ad and we started to chat a little bit, I just felt like this is something that could work for me. But I was certainly at the point where I've given everything a shot, and I really just needed kind of a reset, and to go back to school, if you will, right? To learn how to do it the right way. Because any of the fat stuff could have done something short term, but this being, I think, a long standing change for me.
Yeah. Well, I need to give you credit here because you're right. There is so much bullshit and conflicting information on the internet, right? I don't know if you were talking about V-Shred or some other, is that what it was?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, V-Shred. No, we can publicly
Okay.
talk about that. Yeah, man, there's a lot of garbage on the internet when it comes to health and fitness. Um, but I need to give you credit for not letting being burned before prevent you from taking action on the thing that you saw was going to give you the results you were looking for, right? So I mean, that's why we're here today having this conversation, that you took the
Yeah.
plunge, you took the leap of faith, and you were wildly successful with it. So, you know, you had all that skepticism coming in. You had been burnt once before. You decided to give it a shot. And here we are 6 months later. So, what actual results did you create for yourself in the 6 months that we were working together?
Yeah, I think number one, right out of the gate, obviously the weight loss, like you said, down 30 pounds. Um, Absolutely night and day. And then the thing that's gonna take me, I think, even to another level is just the understanding of it really. I don't want to say it doesn't take a lot of effort, because it does, right? But it doesn't take as much effort as one might think, right? With I think one of the things that personally turned me around was you and Greg looked at my steps and you were like, "Hey man, you're walking, less than 1,000 steps. You got to get those numbers up, And I think literally a week later, everything just started, right? Like the workouts, the nutrition, and then just doing that, just started for me. So I think that just deep understanding of now how to target what I want to do, and continue to do, but then the maintenance of it as well.
Hmm.
because I think like any other person, well, like most people in our program, I travel quite a lot for work. I am getting to the point where I want to throw in some vacations, right? But like, don't want to derail myself, when that's happening. So
Yeah, and you mentioned something a couple of weeks ago where, you're in Hawaii, right? You go ahead. You can tell it better than I can.
yeah, yeah. So it was just in Hawaii. Oh gosh, I think it was already 2.5 weeks ago. Um, we were there with the girlfriend and then a bunch of her old friends that a lot of them I hadn't seen prior to actually going into this program. So um, getting off of the plane and then linking up at the airport, most of them didn't even say hi, more so than like, whoa, like just a very like visceral reaction, to seeing like you've lost a ton of weight, and then so that was definitely like a comfort boost, or a confidence booster, if you will. And then, I mean, just being to the point where like, okay, yeah, I will go to the beach, I will shed the shirt, because I feel like confident enough versus 6 months ago, like I probably would not have even wanted to go to Hawaii in the first place,
Hmm.
knowing knowing that's something that I would have to do.
For
Go to the
sure.
beach and do all that stuff. So
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that because a lot of people might look at what you're doing, working out 3 to 4 times per week, eating nutritious food, being aware of what you're eating. They're like, oh, that sounds so restrictive, right? But what I remind guys is fitness is freedom, right? Having a body that feels good, that looks good, that you're able to just go to the beach, take your shirt off without having a second thought about it, that is freedom, right? So I'm so happy for you that you were successful. You lost the 30 pounds, built a ton of strength, a lot of muscle. And the fact that you now have that roadmap and that blueprint to follow just to maintain and continue progressing on this road that you're on, it's so empowering. So I'm stoked to hear, that story of you in Hawaii, taking your shirt off, going for the hikes, enjoying it. Like that's what life's all about, right? Having the freedom to enjoy those moments. And then you also mentioned something recently where your dentist said something to you, right? So
yeah,
share that story with us.
yeah. I just got a new dentist probably like a year and a half ago. So I've seen them all of maybe 2 times, every 6 months. Really didn't think I was at the point where like, oh, like you're very friendly with your dentist, and like I know a lot about them, vice versa. But I sat in the chair just yesterday, and the first thing the dentist said when she walked up was like, "You've lost a ton of weight," and I was like, very surprised by that. Um, but just, I mean, it goes to kind of what you're saying, and like definitely what I'm feeling with like getting to that point of like self confidence and actually reaping the benefits of all the work you're putting in is, I mean, it's invaluable.
That's amazing, man. That's the progress has been stark when like your girlfriend's friends, that's the first thing they say when they see you. Wow, you've lost a bunch of weight. But then also when your dentist says something, right? Like that's the first time after
Yeah.
working with over 1,000 guys I've ever heard that come from a dentist before. So that's awesome, man. And you've put the work in, you've created incredible results for yourself here, Kelvin. How is that carried into other areas of life for you? Like how is that confidence, that momentum, this belief in yourself that like, hey, you can do this thing? Like how has that translated into whether it's been, work, relationships, or any other areas of life for you?
I definitely think it's trickled out to all those different areas, but I would say at a central point, just how I'm personally feeling, about waking up to go to work on a certain day, or like, hey, we're gonna do something fun, on the weekend, or like seeing family. All that has improved as a result of, at its core, I'm feeling more confident, like my psyche has improved with just the fact that, among those two, stories, also being able to get rid of, the quote unquote like fat clothes that I had to buy, right? Like during the initial weight gain, getting back to where I was, both like mentally, physically. Um, so it all kind of trickles down from that point, but like overall, just much improved, both mentally, physically, and basically all factors, really.
Awesome, man. Dude, I love hearing that, right? It's like your physical body, that's what you experience your entire life through, right? That's like this is the only thing that you'll have for sure for your entire life is this body that you're in. And the fact that you're able to wake up, like what you see when you look in the mirror, like how clothes are fitting you, take your shirt off at the beach. I mean, man, it's a whole new level of freedom, and I'm very, very happy for you, man. You've absolutely crushed it. So, on a final note here, like if you can imagine there's someone watching this video, maybe they've had a call with us, maybe they've just kind of stumbled on my page or seen an ad, and they were in the exact position you were in 6 months ago. They're wondering if this is the right system for them, the right coaching, the right community. Is this actually going to work for them? Is this going to get them the results they're looking for? As someone who was highly skeptical coming into this, what words of advice or words of wisdom would you have for them?
Yeah, and I think you described it well, and I'll just reiterate it. Like for anybody watching this, I think I was probably the number one, skeptical person. Sam, you can agree to that. And I would just say this definitely is not your normal fad program. I wouldn't even say it's like fad in any sense of the word. Um, Starting from the coaching, like the dedicated support you're going to get from Sam and Greg has been absolutely invaluable towards me getting from point A to point B. At this point, being much happier just as an individual. Um, and it's so detailed and meticulous as well. Like from the workouts where you're getting detailed feedback, on, hey, you need to fix this, bring this in. You'll actually get more results if you do this. And even the occasional call out of, hey, I think you had a little bit more.
Yeah, you got to push a little harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that RPE 10? um, but then also, the detailed nature of dialing in the nutrition. I was someone even through when I was like younger and in the military, I was constantly outrunning a bad diet. Like I didn't fully understand what it meant to properly provide that nutrition to your body to get the results you wanted. So now being a little bit older, like it definitely caught up. But then being able to in this program figure out like what works for me, because I think it is different, right, for everybody. And we did that. We did the hard work, figuring out, hey, let's change this, change that. Why don't you try switching this out of your diet? And um, that type of attention to detail, like from the coaching staff, is something I've never had. And I don't think you're going to get anywhere else. Past that, within the community, being able to, and I personally am not like the most like social talkative guy, but like being able to see that there's guys to your left and right grinding, they have the same things that you're worried about, a lot of the same stories, a lot of the same just really hectic work travel, and still grinding and making it happen can be the little bit that you need to say, you know what, I am going to wake up early this morning just to make sure I get a workout in, or at the end of a day, no, I'm not going to just blow my macros, out of the water because, today was a little bit rough. So I think that between the coaching and like the support structure, like you're not going to get it anywhere else. It was something that definitely helped propel me from somewhere where I thought I couldn't get out of. I was certainly reaching that point. So all that to say, as a very heavy skeptical person, give it a try. Take the plunge, invest in yourself, because you're not going to be happier. I think by
Amazing.
checking out.
Well, dude, like I said, you absolutely you crushed it. You came in, albeit a little skeptical to begin with, but you executed at a 10 out of 10 level. You gave us you communicated with us very well, and because of that, we're able to coach you effectively. And really this all works because you showed up on a regular basis, you put the work in, and you created these results for yourself. So you should feel very proud of that. And most importantly here, you now have the knowledge and the habits built up to sustain this rate of progress on your own. So we're super happy to see that. Again, Kelvin, congrats on the progress that you've made here. You deserve every bit of it, and we're looking forward to seeing you continue this rate of progress on your own here in the future.
Thanks, Sam. Couldn't have done it without you guys.
Amazing, dude. Well, you're so welcome. That's what we're here for. And thanks again for taking the time for the call here. We really appreciate it, and we'll talk soon.
Yep, sounds good.
See ya.